ICC as the government orderlies try to ensure that the grounds will be ready for the swearing in of the second in command designate right now, Professor Kindiki, who, if you remember the politics of Kenya Kwanza, was actually the one who was supposed to actually deputize the president. Only politics took place and Rigathi Gachagua became. But Professor Kindiki was the choice of Kenya Kwanza for deputy president. Well, it went round, it has come back to him. Now, Kindiki will be sworn into office as the third deputy president of the Republic of Kenya today at 10 a.m. at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. President William Ruto has at the same time appointed the CS Musalia Mudavadi to act as Interior Cabinet Secretary. Head of Public Service, Felix Koskei, has constituted a 23-member committee that is tasked with facilitating the assumption of office and swearing in of the Deputy President-designate Kithure Kindiki. The committee is chaired by Secretary to the Cabinet, Mercy Wanjau, and flanked by members of the Cabinet, including the Attorney General Dorcas Oduor, Chief Registrar of Judiciary, Winfrida Mokaya, Principal Secretaries from various ministries, Clerk of the National Assembly, Samuel Njoroge, and Clerk of the Senate, Jeremiah Nyengenye. Now, today, definitely we'll be observing what is going to happen at Uhuru Park. It's been one of those battles for Rigathi Gachagua. I don't know whether it started right, it went wrong, or it started wrong and continued going wrong for this deputy president, because his tenure in office has been one that has been spotted with a lot of things. You remember the gaffe at the swearing in, and from there onwards, just things went completely south for him until the parting with the president. So it's been one of those I'm very sure Kenyans will never forget. Well, a High Court ruling basically paved the way for the swearing in of Deputy President nominee Kithure Kindiki after his nomination by President William Ruto around 13 days ago. The ruling, delivered by a three-judge bench, dealt a huge blow to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who sought to have conservatory orders barring his ouster from office stayed, but the High Court ruled otherwise, citing the Constitution does not envisage a vacancy in the office of the Deputy President. This is the end of the road for Gachagua, who was just 24 hours before had expressed confidence in the judiciary.
For clarity, not even the Speaker of the National Assembly may discharge the functions vested in the Deputy President under Articles 147, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution. In light of the above, we are convinced and hereby find that the current constitutional framework does not envision any scenario in which the office of the Deputy President will remain vacant, except during the brief period required to fill such a vacancy.
This decision underlines the principle that the judiciary's role in impeachment matters is not to take over legislative functions, but to ensure that such processes are conducted in a manner that respects constitutional norms and procedural fairness. The applications for conservatory orders are hereby disallowed. 2. The conservatory orders issued on 18th of October 2024 in Keregoya High Court E015/2024 are hereby discharged and or set aside. Costs of these applications shall be incurred. We grant leave for appeal, type proceedings, and certified copies of this ruling to be availed to parties at cost or as it may be.
Just after presiding judge Eric Ogola issued orders disqualifying the conservatory orders, a new application was made by Rigathi Gachagwa's lawyers to have a new set of conservatory orders to halt the swearing-in, citing fault in the nomination of Kithure Kindiki with the defunct IEBC. Ndegwa Njiru, Gachagwa's lawyer, argued that allowing the swearing-in of Kindiki could infringe on a right to fair hearing for Gachagua. The three-judge bench ruling still denied the issue conservatory orders.
Lordship, it is on record, and I invite the court to take judicial notice, that there is a clear non-existence of a crucial state organ that's supposed to oversee the processes of filling of that office in the name of the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission. Your Lordship, the Independent and Boundary Commission is created under Article 88 of the Constitution, and the functions are created therein. One of the functions, my lords, my lady, is to maintain a voters register, is to register voters. Under Article 99, your Lordship, of the Constitution, as read together with Article 137, creates the qualifications upon which the president or the deputy president must attain if one is to hold office. It was a presumption that that confirmation was done by the Electoral and Boundary Commission as created by the Constitution. My ladies, my lords, it's my humble appeal that this honorable court does fight in my favor to issue the conservatory order on the basis that there is no clearance that has been issued by the IBC.
Well, incidentally, it's a funny situation. I think apart from the conservatory orders, there is no other case that Gachagua has thrown at the courts that he has won. And so it raised a lot of questions for him. I remember maybe around 2 weeks ago, we were arguing with the Kiswahili department, and then there's a terminology in Swahili. They say siku ya nyani kufa, miti yote uteleza. And I guess I was right on that one. Now, in its ruling, the High Court made a determination of 3 issues, including 1, whether the court had jurisdiction to sit and determine the ruling; 2, whether the consolidated issues can be tried in a court of law; and 3, whether the conservatory orders should be disqualified. On jurisdiction, the court ruled that it had liberties under the Article 165(3) to hear impeachment cases. On justiciability, the court ruled that Senate is not a sole determinant of an impeachment, and the legislative process can be under judicial review. On the final issue of conservatory orders, the High Court disqualified the orders, saying if they stand, then the office of the Deputy President remains vacant. So those were basically the grounds upon which the courts yesterday were ruling on Gachagua's case. And basically, Gachagua now is not the Deputy President. He completely loses that position. And the other question that they were asking, one of the lawyers asked yesterday, is whether this court has the power. Once a Deputy President has been sworn in, how do you unswear him? Once, take peradventure, Rigathi Gachagua's case is proved that the process was not followed to the letter. How do you unswear the current now Deputy President designate Kithure Kindiki? It's a tricky situation, and so we'll watch and see how this plays out. Does it set a precedent? Yes, it sets a precedent. And later on, during the leadership show, we'll be looking at some of the precedents that have been set and how they will portend for the future of this country, because this is not going to be the first nor the last time a deputy president or a president will seek to unseat his deputy because they don't see eye to eye. Now, we decided to go out to the streets and just get your thoughts on the same. And our reporter, Martin Masharia, was on the streets to get a feel of what Kenyans felt about the ruling and their reaction following the decision by the High Court to pave way for the swearing in of Kithure Kindiki.
Mimi naona Gachagua hawezi, hiyo kiti amemshinda, hakuna Kenya anaweza hapo. Na nikiangalia Kindiki hiyo kiti na anaweza.
Gachagua pia alikuwa na makosa, lakini ile njia wametumia kumwimpeach ndio mimi iko nifurahisha. Nimeona kwangu, naona ni kama executive wamecapture judiciary. Judiciary is not independent bila tunaambiwa kulingana na sheria.
Watu walitoa Gachagua kuanzia MP, senator, high court wakiwatoa. Sisi ni normal wananchi, tukiambiwa left. But ile kitu naweza sema hiyo ndio mwisho yake ya reli ya kazi. Kama ilifika hapo ifike hapo, tuweke mtu mwingine kama mtu wako.
Wangeanza tu siku yenye walianzia hiyo, na Gachagua angekuwa ametoka mapema, kwa sababu huu Kenya tunataka mtu wanajua mwananchi ni mwananchi, sio mwananchi wa pande ile ama wa pande hii. Sisi wote ni wa Kenya, na ningependelea sana hata kama ni huyo DPT anakuja, akuje ile mtu ako serious na wananchi, sio wa pande wa kwao ya Kenya mzima. Na mambo ya kwao yeye pia afuate huyo jamaa wake, lakini akikuja na mambo ya wananchi wote tutamkaribisha na tutasema endelea na kazi mzuri.
Judiciary iko captured. Hakuna kitu, hakuna mtu anaweza pinga, na Ruto ndiye amekalia judiciary. Rais amekalia judiciary yote, hakuna, hawana say. Ukiangalia hata reasoning ya lawyers wa Gachagua na wale wa parliament na senate, hawa Gachagua walikuwa juu. Tumeona hiyo proceeding yote. Lawyers wa Gachagua walireason vizuri na vitu vipengele zote za sheria, lakini hawakusikizwa.
Yeah, that's what Kenyans had to say about what is happening. Now, you remember the Wells Fargo guy who was shot dead, murdered by, some guys who later went on a spending spree, withdrawing money from his M-Pesa. Well, yesterday, the second suspect of the murder of the Wells Fargo HR, the guy's name was Willis Ayeko, who escaped a police shootout on Wednesday night, was gunned down in Kisumu in the morning. Confirming the incident, Nyanza Regional Police Boss Patrick Tito stated the suspect had checked into a hotel near Kisumu Polytechnic on Wednesday night before he was ambushed by the police. The Directorate of Criminal Investigation officers recovered a pistol belonging to the late Wells Fargo Human Resource Manager Willis Ayeko. Together with the police in Siaya, the security agencies managed to trail two suspects who were reportedly in possession of the firearm.
In an active shooter situation, you can't allow your enemy to pull the trigger first. And then we had some two arrests that were made in Wagai about 2 days ago. And this followed some shootouts which resulted to the recovery of the firearm that was robbed off from the late. Lady was arrested after she got injured and was unable to escape, as two suspects reportedly escaped from the scene. The lady, as it has already been reported, succumbed to the injuries she suffered.
I don't know whether it's my mind working fast because of watching programs like CSI, Inspector Derek, for those who've been around for a while, because there are so many questions that come out of that situation. how did the police establish that that gun belonged to Ayeko? I mean, you've shot somebody, a suspect, and you've not even taken the firearm for ballistic tests or anything. You've just gotten a gun and it belongs to Ayeko? I thought there are tests that firearms are supposed to be taken through so that I know firearms have serial numbers. But isn't that weapon supposed to be taken for ballistic tests and that kind of stuff to establish whether this is the gun or otherwise? You get where I'm coming from? Okay, just a thought. Let you think on it. We're going to be checking the newspapers shortly. All right, now that Kindiki is, going to be sworn in as deputy president, I might just put in an application to be made the CS Interior Security. and once that happens, there's a vacancy, by the way. There's a vacancy. If you're looking for a job, there's a vacancy there. You can send in your application. Tupatane mbele ama namna gani? All right, the Daily Nation, this is the headline: second in command, and the guy is wearing the camouflage uniform by the military. And it says Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki, a former teacher of law, is said to occupy the second most powerful office in the country after the noisy and messy ouster of Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. This is after the High Court decision yesterday afternoon to remove the last hurdle on his way to taking the oath of office. And on the same page, you have the pictures of Gachagua's fight for survival, acting interior CES, Musalia Mudavadi gazetted, and then the mixed reactions over the ruling to have Gachagua ousted. And then from there onwards, you just have profile stories about Kithure Kindiki, second in command, court clears the way for Kindiki, and then XCS was destined for top post. Kenyans welcome new DP as Kindiki replaces Gachagua. Gachagua's lawyers say fight is still on. Court ruling on DP draws both criticism and support. Gachagua has option to fight for political life. Actually, that's the only thing he has now. Because once you're impeached and confirmed, you're banned from holding public offices. So that makes you politically, you cannot do anything. A Daily Nation back page: school managers held over fake CAPSIA papers. Now, where did they get this? You know, why in the world? Why do you want to bring fake papers? This, at times you see some of these things and you want to ask, who is their mother? As in, hey, Kenya is special. And then the Standard, what awaits Kindiki? Abraham Kithure Kindiki will this morning be sworn in as deputy president to succeed embattled Rigathi Gachagua, whose fate was sealed in a judgment yesterday lifting orders stopping the interior CS ascension. The decision was music to the ears of the establishment, but a body blow to the impeached DP, whose aggressive fight back has so far yielded zero wins or results. Then you've got a picture of Kindiki there. IMF warning as IMF's Kenya warning as it releases 78 billion shillings. Abductions soil Kenya's image. Hugs at Manu as Amorin plan on. Okay. Irony of Kenya's low inflation but empty pockets. Yeah, that makes sense. Economic sense for that matter. Then the second page is Kenya's image under scrutiny as envoys warn on abductions. Police gun down suspects in Wells Fargo manager Ayeko's murder. City MCA's summon bank of a title deed linked to Sonko. Yeah, I would really love this one. Nairobi County Assembly Lands and Planning Committee has summoned the management of National Bank to explain if a title deed belonging to Jivanji affordable housing land was used to secure a loan. The new twist emerged after former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko claimed senior officials at City Hall had irregularly used the title deed belonging to the land to secure a 1.9 billion shillings loan. The guys who did this and the teachers who produced fake KPSEA papers are on the same WhatsApp completely. Then we have Kindiki to finally get coveted prize after lengthy wait. Well, we hope that the relationship between the president and his deputy is going to be good for the country, so that we can be able to enjoy some sort of development. It's been fights. No development. We got less than 3 years to go to the next election. Procedural blunder cost Gachagua lifeline. Then the back page, hugs and laughter at Manchester United as Ruben Amorim set to take over. We'll see what happens to Amorim. Kindiki, a new era. His picture is right there. Assumption of Office Committee met yesterday to plan for swearing in. I can see the Star says antagonizing Wetangula is a very poor political strategy that they're talking about Raila Odinga. Then rainy weather to resume this weekend countrywide. Met says cash crisis hit government as massive debt take toll on key state operations. State requires 106 billion to implement police reforms. Then the second page, change of guard. Out goes Gachagua, in comes Kindiki. Lake region and Rift Valley to get weekend rain. What about Machakos? You know, I have interest in Machakos raining because I have there's some farming that takes place there. But rain there is so rare. Watu wa Machakos tupatane hapo kwa tent. Inside the cash crisis in Ruto government, IMF sounds warning as it disburses delayed 78.2 billion shilling loan to Kenya. Then the back page of the Star is eyes on history. Now we're going to go after this, and then at around some few minutes to 9 we'll come back as we prepare for the swearing in of Professor Kithure Kindiki as the new Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Yani nimesema ati as we prepare. It's like I'm part of that team that is preparing to swear in Kindiki, you know. All right, let's go for break, and when we come back, we'll be joined with a panel, and we'll be talking about some of these things and what can be learned, what precedents have been set by the ruling that was made yesterday, and how the precedents will affect other deputy presidents, starting with Kithure Kindiki, who the precedents have been said to make or pave way for him to ascend to that position. How are they going to affect the jurisprudence? Nasikia maneno jurisprudence in this country. All that will be coming up later on this morning. Good morning.